It's time for a new release from Altenew. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I'll be sharing some of the July 2025 release from Altenew, and this video is part of a video hop. So be sure to look down below in the YouTube description box. You'll have links to the next hop participant, and you'll have all the information about the giveaway because there are lots of prizes to be had. First, let's just flip through the new products that I'll be using today. This is from the Craft Your Life subscription. It's called Cozy Spaces. You can see an embossing folder, stamp set, die set, and stencil, as well as an envelope to keep it in. This is Elegant Bows embossing folder, die, and stencil. You can buy it in a bundle if you want. Next up, we have the Festive Triangles stamp set and the Zero Waste Ornamental Winter Patterns dies, as well as the Nesting Triangles dies. You can use those with the stamp set. Next up, we have Sweet Treats. It's a layering die set, and Bright Bloom, a floral die set, as well as Wonderlust, which is an embossing folder. There's new glitter cardstock as well, and a stencil that's called Brilliant Waves. So I'll start with the Elegant Bows stencil set. This is a layering stencil set, so I am starting with baby pink ink. This is one of my favorite combinations of pinks. There's baby pink, fuchsia, magenta, and jazzberry, and so it goes from a really bright, nice light pink to a really deep, almost maroon color, which is so beautiful. And they give you lots of depth in these bows because each of the layers has different shading and elements on the bow. You'll see I'm using the mini blending brushes from Altenew, and I have the new organizer to my left, which holds the brushes. I think it holds 40 brushes in total, and you can see that I have them with the brush tip down into the organizer so that I can have my little circle, which shows the color of the ink that I'll be using it with, on the top. Of course, I'm using my stamp wheel to stick the paper down and stick the stencil down on top of that, and that's how I create a nice layered effect of these elegant bows. Next, I'll stamp some of the Festive Triangles. So I love these Festive Triangles because they're a really nice modern look, and they have different patterns to them as well. I'm using a guide for the Altenew stamp wheel to help me line up my sentiment perfectly. I'll put the guide in, put the stamp straight on top, then take the guide out, and then stamp up my sentiment. And that's how I got that Happy Holidays nice and straight. I did die cut out my festive trees with the Nesting Triangles dies, and then I cut a piece of that stenciled bow image, and I'll place that at the bottom, and then the trees on top, and then I have the stamped Happy Holidays on top of that. I'm using some of the Altenew sequins and their pick up tool to place them on little dots of liquid adhesive. I loved combining all these different elements on one card. Next up, we have the Elegant Bows embossing folder. It's a 3D embossing folder, and look at how beautiful that is. You can use that just white like that, and I love the way that looks, but I'm also using some Altenew gold ink today and just swiping it on the embossed panel. It will only place ink on the raised spots, and that gold has so much shine just in the ink itself. Then I'll use the citrine cardstock and cut out a large triangle. I'll stamp Warmest Wishes on the bottom of an A2 piece of white cardstock and then just trim it so that it becomes a sentiment strip. And then trim down the sides as well because I don't want a lot of the white overhanging. I want this to be just the sentiment. Then I'll use some of the foam tape from Altenew to pop up that citrine tree or triangle in the middle of the gold bows, and then use a little bit of foam tape in the center there so that I can pop up the sentiment as well. And with those sequins, I love that you get bunch of different sizes in one pack, and they are all separated out by size. So in one color pack, you'll get like 5 different sizes of sequins, perfect for all these holiday cards. I did want to die cut a few of the bows, so a piece that I had left of that stenciled bow, I cut out a couple of those bows. And I will also cut out the circle from the ornamental winter pattern. It's that zero waste die. Zero waste means that when you pop out those little pink flowers from the pink cardstock, you can use them on another card. And I've shown that before, but I'll probably do it again in the next month or so as well with this because it's just such a beautiful die. So you can see the gold cardstock or the citrine cardstock shining from the back, and then all those little elements are die cut out of the pink, and then just add that bow on top of the ornament. I really love the way that the bow looks die cut out like that, and then a sentiment strip that says Season's Greetings. Let's use this piece that I cut that large triangle out of in order to create a shaker window. So I'll put a bunch of tape runner around the open space here on the back of that citrine cardstock that the triangle was cut out of, and I'll lay an A2 piece of acetate right behind it, and that will create the window. And then I'll just use some foam tape from Altenew and make sure I create a triangle that touches at each of the corners, and then I can just place a bunch of sequins. You can see the pack here, all the different sizes bagged up separately, and I'll place them in the window. Then I'll remove the backing of the foam tape, and that just means peeling off those little protective layers there on the back. And once I do that, I will take a piece of A2 white cardstock and lay it down on top of that as straight as I can, press it down, and then flip it over, and I've trapped all those sequins inside. I'll add one of the other die cut bows and another sentiment strip that says Happy Holidays, and here I'll use a few of those pink flowers from the zero waste die. For this next card, I'll use the Sweet Treats die set. It is a layering die set, so they'll show you instructions on the inside or on the back that explain exactly how to layer them up to make them look like realistic little cookies. I absolutely love layering dies like this. They're so easy to put together. It's not something that you really need to understand where all these little pieces go. They just go right on top of each other, but they create the cutest little cookies. That this one looks like those vanilla wafer cookies. I absolutely love those. And I'm using the Cozy Spaces embossing folder as a background. I like the way it looked, kind of like corrugated cardstock, and out of the white, it just looked like the perfect backdrop for cookies for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know where my mind was going with that, but I really like the way that the two look together. So I decided to create a grid out of the cookies and then added a gold embossed sentiment from one of the stamp sets. This is another of the Cozy Spaces elements. This is the stamp set that I'm using here. Now, this is also a layering stamp set, so you'll see that you can add shading and veins and spines and all that stuff to the leaves. Then there's really pretty sentiments, so I added one of those. There's a little pot to hold these leaves in, this plant in, and then with the stencil you can add a little area rug right underneath that plant. So I'll just do that with a little bit of blending brush and a little color. So I'm trying to keep this pretty basic and modern looking, but use some traditional holiday colors. So my chairs will be in red cardstock, and the plant is green. There's a lime green for the area rug, and it just is a different way, a different take on those traditional color schemes. So I really like the way this turned out. This was a lot of fun to create, and there's other options in that set for you to make as well. This is the Wonderlust embossing folder. It's a 3D embossing folder, and I've embossed it out of some dark Altenew cardstock. It's a nice dark blue, and so I'll just swipe some cloud white Altenew ink on top, and that will just help some of the elements of that embossing really stand out. Then I'll trim it down because I don't want to use the whole thing as the background. I just want to use a portion of it, and I'll place that on some red Altenew cardstock as well. And then I have one of those one pass sentiments that I foiled, and so I'll use a couple of those just to add a couple of sentiments to this and finish the look. Next up, I have the Bold Blooms die set. It's also a layering die set. This one is a flower, but it's a keyhole die set. If you haven't seen those yet, they are Altenew's very special die sets that have little keyholes cut out of the center so that you know exactly how to line up the petals, which I think is absolutely brilliant for those of us who struggle with lining up petals, and that is definitely me. All right, next I'll take the Brilliant Wave stencil and I'll place it on an A2 piece of white cardstock, and I have it again on the stamp wheel, so this mat of the stamp wheel is holding the cardstock in place as well as holding that stencil in place. And I'll use a couple of different colors of ink here, and you can see I'm not really trying to blend them out. I really just want them to be separate areas here, and I love the way that that turned out. It looks like water or ocean with like a beach in the background. And so I'm adding a few of those bold blooms that I already die cut and put together, as well as one of the one pass sentiments that I foiled that says, "You're a true inspiration." I had so much fun creating with this new release, but I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you're most excited about from this new release. That comment will enter you into the giveaways, and all of the other information and details will be down in the YouTube description box below the video, as well as links to the new products so you can check them out. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon.